All right, this is a remaster of a Fire Emblem that never made it over. I think it was Fire Emblem 2. It's called Fire Emblem Gaiden. It's considered to be like the sort of black sheep. Like the best way to think about it is probably like The Legend of Zelda 2. It's that sort of thing because there are RPG elements in it.
So it's awesome. Is that what you're trying to say?
Anyway,
no comment. It's very different because, you know, for the last 2 Fire Emblems, or 4, if you want to talk about how Fates was actually 2 games with a DLC that was its own game, you selected your protagonist and you chose their gender and stuff. Very blank slate protagonist, kind of Commander Shepard situation. But for this one, it's actually 2 protagonists that you're split between. It's multiple perspectives. Alm, who's this sort of warrior Link kind of guy, and then a priestess who reminds me a lot of like Yuna from Final Fantasy X. So, you know, you sort of jump back and forth between them, and you have a huge overmap. And there's dungeon crawling, which is like the biggest difference between this game and, well, there's another big difference. We'll get to that in a minute. But you're also doing dungeon crawling. Like occasionally you'll come across like a cave or a castle, and you'll fight an army outside of that cave or castle. You'll beat them, and then you'll go in there. And sometimes it'll be a dungeon that you actually just run around, and they're not that great so far. They're like, imagine Persona 4 and Persona 5's dungeons, like how you run around, but without any of the cool stuff. So it's just a series of tunnels. It's just a series of tunnels that you run around smacking barrels and enemies.
Okay,
and then
awesome.
The battle system, you know, you might think, oh, well, they're doing a dungeon crawling system, so it might be a new battle system while you're in the dungeons. No, it's the same sort of Fire Emblem battle system from overhead where you're sending, you know, units against each other and so on and so forth. And also, here's the biggest sticking point. For the longest time since they announced this game like 6 or 7 months ago, I want to say, Nintendo and Intelligent Systems would not say, despite being asked, are they going to be relationship stuff, like the shipping stuff, which were, you know, a big deal in Awakening and Fates. And so far, you know, I can't, you know, say with 100% certainty that there aren't relationships in there, but I got nothing so far. I'm like 10 hours into the game, and there are support units. Like, you can make your units fight on the battlefield and get close to one another, which results in like their stats going up. But as far as romancing and stuff, that hasn't shown up yet.
It's more of a friends with benefits situation.
Yeah. But that being said, some of these units are so horny. Like, some of the dialogue is like just pure thirst. Like, at one point, one guy's talking about, well, she's a handful, and another guy goes, I hope so. And it's
Booyah.
like,
That's just some locker room talk right there.
Wait, but it's just like a nice Christian camp where everyone's horny and no one can do anything? Is that your conclusion here? For
so far, yeah. It's like Christian summer camp. But, you know, the battle's still fun, and the story's kind of interesting if it's, you know, still basically Arthurian. Like, there's a great evil, we have to fight it, the one true hero sort of thing. Honestly, I'm not far enough into it. Like, our review's going to be up next week, but I have no idea what to think of this game yet. Like, I'm mostly enjoying it, but like
it's interesting. Maybe Fire Emblem fans are ready for a change of pace, though.
But it still plays like a game that still feels like a game from the mid-90s. Okay. So we'll see. Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can click right here if you want to subscribe and listen to the audio version of the full show. Full episodes air every Thursday, and they feature Game Informer editors sitting around talking about the biggest reviews, previews. We talk about exclusive impressions of Game Informer's cover stories. We have long-form developer interviews. Everything that's great in gaming. So every Thursday, be sure to check it out.